everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Rachel, and in this video I'm going to go over the top 10 most frequently asked questions that all new mothers have. Is my baby getting enough milk? Now, if you're formula feeding or using a bottle, it's much easier to determine how much formula or milk that your baby is getting because you can actually measure it. But for the mothers who are breastfeeding, it is extremely difficult to figure out if your baby is getting enough. It's again one of those things that you kind of panic about. Babies up to the age of about 1 year old need approximately 24 ounces of formula or breast milk. So a couple of ways that you can figure out if your baby is getting enough. Are they satisfied after they've nursed? Do they seem content? Are they happy? Or are they screaming bloody murder? Do they urinate at least after every other feeding? So you want to keep track of that. There are all kinds of apps on your phone. I didn't use any of those because I just felt like it was one more thing to do. So I just kind of mentally remembered, okay, he urinated this time, didn't do it this time, so on and so forth. So I never felt that was a problem. Are they gaining approximately an ounce a day for the first couple weeks? If you have a scale in your home, that's excellent. If you don't, you have to go to the doctor in the beginning quite a few times, so they'll measure your baby. And if you have a concern, you can always stop by for a measurement, and they're happy to weigh your baby for you. The inside of their lip moist and smooth. If not, then they may be a little bit dehydrated. Is their soft spot markedly sunken in? So their little soft spot on the top of their head, if it doesn't look like it's sunken in, then chances are they're all right. Do they have periods of alertness that last approximately 20 to 30 minutes at a time, several times a day? That probably is a good sign that they're getting enough as well. Is your letdown reflex present? If so, chances are your body is forcing you to produce more milk because your baby is drinking that milk. So it forces you to let down and provide enough for your child. You are so tired after you deliver that all you want to do is sleep. But your baby does not want to sleep at night. They want to sleep all day. And that is because their circadian rhythm is not quite figured out yet. They just came out, it's been dark in the womb the entire time they've been in there, so they're confused. They come out very confused. And sleeping through the night is something that every mother wants their baby to do. But in the beginning, it's a little bit unreasonable to expect them to sleep through the night just because they have to have those feedings every couple hours, whether it's breastfed or bottle fed. So in the beginning, you have to be patient. Unfortunately, that's not something that you want to hear, and it's not something that's easy. So patience, give yourself patience, take naps during the day if at all possible. I was one of those who I couldn't take a nap during the day because I was so, hyped up on what was going on. But if you can, take a nap during the day because that will make the night times easier. So I'm going to let you in on a little secret. If you've never heard of Moms on Call, please pause this video and go investigate because it is amazing. It is like Babies for Dummies, if there was such a thing. When I read that section on sleep, the light bulb just clicked. So I just remember sitting in his room, crying. As he's crying, we're both crying, pleading with God, please let him go to sleep because I'm exhausted. Like I couldn't take it anymore. So I started following the principles, and lo and behold, by about a month old, he was sleeping about 6 hours, and 6 hours to me was gold at that time. By the time he was about 2.5 months old, he was sleeping 10 hours, and y'all, by the time he was 3 months old, he was sleeping 12 hours straight. 12 hours straight. I mean, once I got him on the schedule, I was like, yeah, I got this. Third question is, am I holding my baby too much? And I'm just gonna go ahead and say the answer is no. And here's why. In the beginning, all you want to do is just hold that little baby that you spent 9 months growing, caring for, feeling all these things for. All you wanna do is hold it. So when people tell you you're holding your baby too much, you can just stop them right there and say, science has your back. Because science shows, and I am a science teacher, science shows that Holding your baby is very good for their brain development. It helps with cognition, it also helps with communication, and it also improves their behavior later on in life. So hold your baby as much as you want. Is green poop normal? So, never did I think that I would be so obsessed with my child's fecal matter, but I became quite obsessed with it, especially when it turned green. Breastfed babies, their poop is gonna be like a yellow, and they even describe it as like seedy, and you'll know exactly what they're talking about as soon as you see it. Formula babies, their poop tends to be a little bit darker. But the average or the normal range is anywhere from a yellowish brown to even a green. So yes, green poop is normal. It depends. This is kind of a loaded question because if you're trying to keep them on a schedule, and the schedule will affect their nighttime sleep for sure. So their daytime sleep is affected, and it also affects their nighttime sleep. So if you're trying to keep them on a schedule, then I would say yes, for sure, wake them up. I used to wake Hudson up every couple of hours in order to feed him, and that's one reason he was such a happy baby, is because I kept him on a schedule, and that required me waking him up quite often, especially as a newborn. When they get a little older, it does get a little bit tricky. So right now Hudson is about 20 months old, and if I woke him up from a nap now, he would probably bite my head off. Is how many clothes should I put on my baby in order to go outside? So if it is summer versus winter, it's going to be a little bit different, but a good rule of thumb, especially for newborns, is whatever layers that you have on, add an extra layer to them. Now, obviously, if you're going out in the winter, you're gonna want to put gloves on, you're gonna want to put socks on, a beanie, a blanket, whatever the case may be. And especially is, when can I take my baby out in public? And you may be getting antsy, especially if you're one of those types who likes to be on the go. I was not really one of those types. I'm more of a homebody, so I didn't really get the itch until Hudson was about 6 weeks old. And that's typically when they tell you that you can take them out in public as long as you're not around like sick children. My pediatrician told me don't go to like a kid's birthday party, things like that. But typically around age 6 weeks, they're able to at least be out for short periods of time. I definitely would not go before that, especially if it's cold or flu season, because you know how they pick up things like crazy. And then they're usually given the green light from 8 weeks after. So if I drink a glass of wine or a beer or a shot, anytime you drink something, do I need to pump and dump? It's yes and no. So if you feed your baby or pump before you have a beverage and you're not gonna feed them until another couple hours and you just had one drink, I would say you're probably safe. If you continue to indulge, I would probably pump and dump. Maybe you're going out for a girls' night out and you just need a release, then definitely be safe rather than sorry and pump and dump. Or if you have those little test strips, the milk strips that you can test, I don't remember the brand, I think it's UpSpring by, I will link them below once I find them. They are going to tell you if you have a high amount of alcohol in your bloodstream, in your milk, and if it could be passed on to your baby. So again, if you have those, I would use them. If not, be safe rather than sorry and pump and dump, or feed your baby, have a glass, and then you're fine. So we started feeding Hudson food about age 4 months old. We've started out with the jar foods, so like apples and bananas. So I've also attached a kind of a step-by-step of what foods to give your baby and when as they get a little bit older. So it does take a few weeks to kind of get them used to it. But I know once Hudson started eating food, he never looked back. He loves his milk, but he also loves his food. And that's because I started him on baby foods about 4 months old. So the most accurate way to take their temperature is rectally. Even a mild fever under the age of 3 months old, I would contact my pediatrician because their immune systems are so delicate at that time that you really want to make sure that they are not going to get something that's going to cause them to be really sick. A fever needs to be checked rectally up until age 18 months old because the ear ones, the pacifier ones, the forehead ones are not near as accurate. A normal rectal temperature is between 97 to 99.8 degrees Fahrenheit. Anything above that, you're going to want to watch. For babies that are under the age of 3 months old, if the fever is taken rectally and it registers at 100.4 degrees Fahrenheit, definitely call your pediatrician. Do not give any fever medications until you have consent from your doctor because they're also going to make sure that you give them the right dosage and don't give them too much. For a baby that's over 3 months old, if their temperature rectally is 101.5 degrees Fahrenheit, then you're going to want to call the doctor as well. If the fever is accompanied by something else like a rash, inconsolable crying, anything like that would be cause for concern, I would definitely contact your pediatrician. Thanks for watching this video, and I would appreciate it if you would like and subscribe and comment below. Let me know if there are any other questions that you have or any other videos that you would like me to make, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye!